Hello, everyone, and welcome to the KoKo Language Learning Lounge. I'm Jacob.
And I'm Allie. Welcome to the deep dive, especially to all of you joining us today from the KoKo Language Learning Podcast. It's really great to have you here. How are you doing today?
I'm doing wonderfully, thank you. It's always, a real pleasure to be here, especially when we get to dig into something so practical, something everyone experiences. I'm really looking forward to our chat.
Absolutely. Me too. And for anyone new tuning in here on the deep dive, our whole mission really is to help you make sense of all the information out there. We take loads of different sources, articles, notes, you name it, and we try to pull out the most important bits of knowledge, the useful nuggets, just for you.
Yeah, think of it as like a shortcut to getting really informed. We try to find surprising facts, maybe a little humor too, keep things interesting.
Exactly. And today we're putting a special focus on boosting your practical English skills. We really want this to help your listening comprehension so you can follow along with natural conversations like this one. And also for shadowing practice, you can actually repeat phrases after us to work on your pronunciation and just sound more natural when you speak.
That's right. And for this deep dive, we've gathered a lot on, well, restaurant English. Our goal today is basically to give you the key phrases, but also those cultural insights, the things you need to feel confident dining out anywhere in an English-speaking country.
Okay, so here's the quick version, like a 30-second summary of what you'll get from sticking with us. By the end of our chat, you're going to feel much more comfortable, like booking a table smoothly. Check. Ordering your food with confidence.
Yeah.
Yep. Even handling those little problems that sometimes pop up politely. We'll cover that.
We'll also look at some interesting cultural differences, things like service styles and, oh, the big one, tipping. You'll walk away not just with phrases, but with a real feel for how to speak clearly, confidently, and importantly, with empathy in these situations.
Yeah, the aim is to make your next restaurant visit, well, totally stress-free and actually really enjoyable.
Exactly. And to help us sort of structure this, we picked out 3 key ideas or concepts that kind of pop up again and again. Understanding these will really help, I think. The first one is reservation.
Reservation, right. So what does reservation mean, just in simple terms for everyone listening?
Okay, so think of a reservation as basically booking your spot at a restaurant before you go. You call them up or maybe use an app and say, hey, I need a table for, say, 4 people at 7 p.m.
Ah, okay.
It's like making a plan ahead of time so you know you'll get a table when you arrive. Super useful, especially, if you're a bigger group or if the restaurant's really popular, maybe on a weekend night.
Gotcha. So it saves you waiting around.
Exactly. Saves you waiting in line, which nobody really likes doing, right?
Definitely not. Okay, that makes sense. Planning ahead. Concept number 2 for today is tip.
Right. A tip. A tip is, it's basically extra money, usually a small amount, that you give to someone who's provided a service, like in a restaurant, the server, or maybe a bartender, taxi driver, hairdresser. It's money you add on top of the actual cost. It's meant to show you appreciate their work, like a thank you for good service.
So like a bonus payment for doing a good job?
Pretty much, yeah. But, and this is a big but, the whole expectation around tipping, what it means, can be wildly different depending on where you are in the world. We'll definitely dig into that later.
Okay, fascinating. Very important difference there. And our third key concept is softening language. Now, this one's big different, isn't it? It's not just one word.
No, exactly. Softening language is more about how you say things. It's about using gentler words, more indirect phrases to make requests or suggestions or even complaints sound more polite, less demanding.
So it's about not sounding, well, rude.
Precisely. It's about being respectful, considerate, even when you're asking for something or pointing out, maybe something's not quite right. It helps you sound friendly, approachable. And this is super, super important in many English-speaking cultures like the U.S., where being too direct can sometimes rub people the wrong way.
Right, I've heard that. Good one to know. Okay, those are excellent concepts to keep in mind. So, as we dive in today, we'll be looking at how softening language helps with politeness, the really interesting cultural stuff around tipping, and also a curious difference between using check versus bill when you pay.
Yeah, understanding these will really help you navigate dining out like a pro.
Definitely.
Oh, and just before we really jump in, a quick little reminder for everyone listening. If you're finding this helpful, please do subscribe to the deep dive. Maybe give this deep dive a like and share with friends or anyone else learning English.
Yeah, your support honestly makes a huge difference and keeps us motivated to make more helpful stuff like this for you.
It really does.
Okay, so let's get started. Let's unpack this right from the beginning of the restaurant experience, getting in the door. That often means booking a table, making that reservation we just talked about, and then getting seated. So imagine you're planning, I don't know, special dinner or maybe going out with a few friends. Making a reservation first seems like a good idea.
Oh, it really is. Especially, like I said, for those popular spots or during busy times like Friday, Saturday nights, or special occasions. It just makes things smoother.
So how do you actually do it? What do you say?
Well, if you call them up or use an online booking thing, a really standard phrase is, I would like to make a reservation for number people at time, please. Simple as that.
Okay.
So maybe, I'd like to make a reservation for 2 people at 7 p.m., please. Or if you're a bit more flexible, you could ask, do you have any free tables around 8 p.m.? Or what times do you have available for 4 people tonight?
That's clear.
Yeah.
Very useful. But, what about those times when you just decide last minute, you just feel like eating out and haven't planned anything? That happens, right?
Oh, totally. Happens all the time. If you just walk in without a reservation, the simplest, politest way is to ask, can we have a table for number, please?
So, can we have a table for three, please?
Exactly. Nice and simple. Now, you might also see a sign when you walk in, maybe near the entrance, that says, please wait to be seated.
Ah, yes, I've seen those.
Right. And that sign means exactly what it says. You should stand there and wait. Wait for someone from the staff, like a host or waiter, to come over and show you to a table.
It's not okay to just walk in and grab any empty table you see.
Generally, no. It's considered a bit rude, actually. You wait for them to seat you. It's just part of the system, the etiquette.
Good to know. Those little signs are important cues. Okay, so you're seated. Success. What's next? Usually getting the menu right. How do you ask for that politely?
Yeah, usually they bring it right away, but if not, the most common way to ask is, could I see the menu, please? Very polite, very standard.
And if you want drinks?
You could ask, could I see the wine list, please? Or maybe, do you have a drinks menu? Same polite structure.
Okay. Now, sometimes that menu arrives and wow, so many choices. Or maybe you're busy chatting with your friends and you need a moment. How do you ask for more time without sounding like you're, being difficult or wasting their time?
Ah, yes, the need more time moment. This is a perfect place for that softening language we talked about, especially again in places like the US. You don't want to sound like you're giving an order.
Right.
So instead of saying come back later, which is too direct, you frame it as a polite request. You could say, can we have another minute to look at the menu, please? Or, could I have just a few more minutes, please?
Using can we or could I makes it softer.
Exactly. It implies you're still deciding, not just dismissing them. It's less direct.
I remember hearing that being too direct, even as the customer, can sometimes feel a bit abrupt or even rude in American English. Can you explain a bit more about why that is? Why the need for this softening?
That's a really great point, and it ties into some deeper cultural things. In the US, there's generally a strong emphasis on, well, politeness that avoids direct commands, even in service situations. It's sort of about respecting the other person's autonomy, maybe.
Hmm, interesting.
So, a direct command like, bring me the steak, can feel a little jarring.
Hey.
It implies the server has no choice. But phrasing it as a request, like, could I get the steak? Or I'll have the steak, please, feels more like a transaction between equals,
Mm.
if that makes sense. It acknowledges their role in fulfilling the request.
It's like a subtle social dance.
It really is. It's about fostering cooperation, making the interaction smoother. It's almost like you're giving them the option to say no, even though, they usually won't unless there's a real reason, like they're out of steak.
That's fascinating. It's not just the words, it's the feeling behind them. So, following that logic, is it okay to tell the waiter when to come back, like come back in 5 minutes?
Generally, it's better to avoid that.
Mm.
A good server is usually trained to check back in appropriately, or they'll watch for cues that you're ready. Telling them when to come back can sound a bit, well, bossy or condescending.
Mm.
The exception might be if you're genuinely in a huge rush. But even then, phrase it politely as a request. Excuse me, we're actually in a bit of a hurry. Could you possibly check back in just a couple of minutes? Using possibly and could you softens it.
Okay. And if you do need to get their attention later on, what's the best way? Just wave frantically.
Uh-huh. Probably not the frantic waving. The most polite way is usually just to try and catch their eye as they walk past. If that doesn't work, a simple, clear, excuse me, when they're nearby is perfect. Avoid shouting across the room.
Got it. Excuse me. Simple and effective. Wow, that's really insightful about the communication style. Those unspoken rules are so important. Okay, let's move on to the main event, really. The menu itself. Understanding it, making choices, asking for help.
Yes, the menu. Once it's in your hands, it really helps to know the basic structure. Most menus are divided into sections. You'll usually see things like appetizers, main dishes, side dishes, and desserts.
Could you give us some examples of what might be in those sections, just to help people get familiar with the terms?
Absolutely. So, appetizers, which are sometimes called starters, or the small dishes you eat before the main course. Think maybe tomato soup or some crispy onion rings, garlic bread, maybe crab cakes if it's a bit fancier. Things to get you started.
Okay, whet's the appetite?
Exactly. Then you have the main dishes. These are also called main courses or sometimes entrees, especially in North America. This is the main part of your meal. It could be a steak, lamb chops, maybe a chicken stir fry, pasta like cheese ravioli, or a fish dish. The star of the show, basically.
Got it. And what about side dishes? Sometimes they come with the main, sometimes you order them extra.
That's right. Side dishes are smaller things that accompany the main dish. Sometimes one or two are included. Sometimes you order them separately, a la carte. Common examples are, French fries, rice, mashed potatoes, or maybe some mixed vegetables. They help round out the meal.
And then the grand finale.
Desserts. The sweet course at the end. You'll find things like ice cream, pie, maybe cheesecake, or fruit salad if you want something lighter.
Yum. Okay, so you've navigated the sections, you've maybe agonized a bit, and you finally decided. What are the best, most common ways to actually place your order?
There are a few really good standard phrases, all perfectly polite. A very common one is, I'll have the dish, please. Simple. I'll have the fish, please.
Okay.
Another great one is, I'd like the dish, please, as in, I'd like the chicken stir fry, please. I'd like is always nice and polite.
Got it.
And a third one, also very common, is using can I have? Can I have the cheese ravioli, please? It's phrased as a question, which again feels polite. You might also hear people say, I'll get the dish, which is a bit more casual, but still totally fine. I'll get the steak.
Lots of good options there. But what if you're stuck? You just can't decide. Or maybe you want to try something the restaurant is known for. How do you ask for a recommendation?
Asking for recommendations is a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Servers usually know the menu inside out. The simplest way is just to ask, what do you recommend? Or, perhaps slightly more formally, what would you recommend?
That's easy enough.
Yeah, very straightforward.
But sometimes you want something more personal, like not just the most popular dish, but what the server actually likes.
Good point. To get a more genuine opinion, you could ask, what's your favorite thing on the menu? People often respond more enthusiastically to that. Or if you're choosing between two things, you can say, I'm thinking about either the X or the Y. Which do you like better?
Oh, okay. Like, I'm trying to decide between the lamb chops and the fish. Which do you prefer?
Exactly. It invites their personal take, and they often know what's really good. Maybe something that's particularly fresh that day, or just exceptionally well made.
That's smart. What if you know the type of thing you want? Like, you feel like soup or something really hearty, but you don't know which specific dish.
You can absolutely guide them based on your mood. You can say something like, I'm in the mood for something lighthearted, spicy vegetarian. What would you suggest? Or, I feel like having some soup. Which one is your favorite? It helps them narrow it down for you. And in slightly fancier places, you might ask, is there a house specialty? This asks if the restaurant is particularly famous for a certain dish.
Good tip for fancier places. Now, what about drinks? Especially matching wine with food.
Right. For drinks, especially wine, asking for a recommendation is common. You could say, what wine would go well with this dish? Or maybe more specifically, what wine pairs best with the steak?
Ah.
It shows you care about the pairing and you value their expertise.
Great advice. A very specific question, but one that comes up a lot if you order steak. They'll almost always ask, how would you like your steak cooked? Or simply, how would you like that? What are the standard answers?
Yes, this is crucial for steak lovers. They need to know how much you want it cooked. The common terms going from least cooked to most cooked are rare. It's very red, cool center.
Okay, rare.
Then medium rare, warm red center, probably the most popular. Then medium pink center, but cooked more. After that is medium well, just a hint of pink left. And finally, well done, cooked all the way through, no pink at all.
Rare, medium, medium. Well done. Got it. Knowing those helps you get exactly what you want.
Definitely. Now, another really important area, dietary needs and allergies. This is critical for health and safety.
Absolutely vital. Restaurants usually take this very seriously, don't they?
They have to. You need to be really clear and direct about this. If it's just a preference, you could say, I'm on a diet,
Yeah.
or I'm trying to avoid carbs. But if it's an allergy, you must be firm. I'm allergic to ingredient, for example. I'm allergic to nuts.
And if it's serious?
Then you should emphasize it. I'm severely allergic to ingredient, like I'm severely allergic to shellfish. This tells a kitchen they need to be extra, extra careful to avoid cross-contamination.
Right. Better safe than sorry. What about other dietary choices, like vegetarian?
You just state it clearly. I'm a vegetarian, or I'm a vegan. Or if there's something specific you don't eat, say, I don't eat pork, or I don't eat dairy. It's also a good idea to double check sometimes. Does this dish contain any meat? Or is there any shellfish in this sauce? Just to be sure.
That's really good advice. Clear communication is key there. Okay, shifting gears slightly. Sometimes you see unusual or, let's say, interesting foods on a menu, things you've maybe never tried. How can you talk about those with your dining partners or the server?
Oh, that's a fun part of eating out. Trying new things. The present perfect tense is great here for talking about experiences. You can ask someone, have you ever eaten food? Or have you ever tried food?
So, like, have you ever tried oysters if you see them on the menu?
Exactly. Or have you ever eaten squid? It's a great way to start a conversation. And if you haven't tried something, you can say, I've never had food. Like, I've never had plantains before. Are they good?
Our notes mention all sorts of interesting things people might encounter. Avocados, blue cheese, carrot juice, dates, frozen yogurt, oysters, plantains, seaweed, soy milk, squid. Loads of potential conversation starters there.
Totally. Sharing what you have or haven't tried is a really natural way to connect with people over food. Like, oh, seaweed salad. Have you ever tried that? I've never had it. It just opens things up.
Yeah, makes the meal more interactive. Okay, now we have to address the less fun part. Sometimes things don't go perfectly. Maybe the food's cold or it's the wrong order. Knowing how to complain politely is, well, a really important skill. Back to that softening language again, right?
Absolutely. This is where it becomes really crucial. In American English especially, even when you're the customer and something is clearly wrong, diving in with a harsh complaint is usually counterproductive. You need to be polite and indirect, even when you're pointing out a problem.
So you want to get the problem fixed, but without causing like a scene or making the staff defensive.
Exactly. It's about finding a solution respectfully.
So how do you start? If you need to flag an issue, what's a good opening?
Always start gently. Use those softeners we talked about. Excuse me, is a standard way to get attention politely. Or even better, start with a small apology, even though it's not your fault. I'm sorry to bother you, but, or, excuse me, I'm so sorry, but.
Okay, I'm sorry to bother you. That sets a non-confrontational tone right away. Let's try some scenarios. Scenario 1. Your food arrives and it's cold. Big disappointment.
Definitely disappointing. Using that gentle start, you could say, excuse me, I'm sorry to bother you, but my food is quite cold. Using quite softens it a bit, makes it sound less like a direct accusation.
Quite cold. Oh.
Or you can be a little more direct, but still polite. Excuse me, but my food is cold. Could you possibly warm it up for me, please? Adding please and possibly helps.
Is there an even more indirect way, like hinting at the problem?
Yes, you could try an indirect question, like, sorry, is this dish usually served cold? This implies surprise and invites them to fix it without you having to explicitly complain. Or, sorry, I might be mistaken, but this seems a bit cold. Could you check on it for me? Shifting blame away helps.
Clever. Okay, scenario 2. They bring you the wrong dish entirely. Happens in busy places.
It does. Again, start politely. I'm sorry, but I think this isn't what I ordered. Or even softer. Excuse me. I think I might have received the wrong order. Using I think makes it sound less certain, less accusatory.
And if you want to double check what you actually ordered,
You could clarify politely, oh, sorry, I ordered your dish. Is this that? For instance, sorry, I ordered the chicken. Is this the chicken? It gives them a chance to confirm or realize the mistake.
makes sense. Scenario 3. The food is taking absolutely ages to arrive. You're getting hungry. Maybe you have plans afterwards.
Very frustrating. Again, politeness first. Excuse me, I'm so sorry to bother you, but we've been waiting quite a while. Could you possibly check on our order? Giving a reason can help too. Sorry, but we have theater tickets for 8 p.m. Any idea how much longer our food might be?
So explaining the urgency helps.
It does. Or a simple, excuse me, could you give us an estimate on how much longer it might be for our main courses?
Mm-hmm.
And if you really need to push, but gently, is there any way the kitchen could perhaps speed things up a bit? We're running a little late. Again, perhaps. A bit, softening words.
Okay. Final scenario. You get your food and you just don't like it. Or maybe it's way spicier than you expected, or just totally not what you thought it would be. This feels tricky.
This one requires extra care, definitely. You don't want to sound like you're just being picky or insulting the chef. If it's about spice, you could say, excuse me, I asked for this mild, but it seems quite spicy for me. Is it possible to get a less spicy version?
Okay, focusing on this specific issue.
Yes. If it's just generally not what you expected, try. I'm so sorry, this isn't quite what I was expecting. Would it be terribly difficult to try something else instead?
Yeah.
Using phrases like terribly difficult shows consideration for their effort.
And if you suspect it was your misunderstanding when ordering,
Then definitely apologize for that. Oh dear, I apologize. I think I misunderstood the menu description. This isn't really to my taste. Would be okay if I ordered something different. Taking responsibility helps smooth things over. Restaurants usually prefer you leave happy, so they'll often try to accommodate you if you're polite about it.
fantastic advice. Handling problems politely is such a key skill. And thinking about these cultural nuances, these unspoken rules, That leads perfectly into our next section. Let's talk about some of those interesting cultural differences in restaurant etiquette that go beyond just the language.
Yes, this is fascinating stuff. There are some really noticeable, though sometimes subtle differences, especially if you compare, say, common practices in Europe, particularly the UK, with those in the US. Let's start with something as basic as using your knife and fork.
Oh, right, cutlery. I've heard there are different styles, like continental versus American.
That's exactly right. There's the European or continental style. Typically, you keep the fork in your left hand with the pointy bits, the tines facing down. The knife stays in your right hand. You cut a piece of food, and then you lift the fork directly to your mouth, still in your left hand, tines down.
So the fork basically stays in the left hand for eating.
Pretty much, yeah. It's
Yeah.
often seen as maybe a more efficient way. The knife helps push food onto the back of the fork sometimes, too.
Okay. And the American style is different.
It is, yeah. In the American style, you also usually start by holding the fork in your left hand and knife in your right to cut the food. But here's the difference. After cutting a piece, you often put the knife down on the edge of the plate. Then you switch the fork over to your right hand, turn the tines up, and use it to scoop or spear the food into your mouth.
Ah, the zigzag method, I've heard it called, switching hands back and forth.
Exactly. Fork cuts on the left, then switches to the right to eat, then maybe back to the left to cut the next piece. Now, it's really important to say these are like the textbook styles. In reality, people's habits vary a lot. Nobody's usually judging you too harshly, but it's interesting to be aware of the difference.
Definitely. Good to know, but not something to stress over too much. What about other pre-meal customs, like saying grace, praying before eating?
Right. Saying grace. Our research suggests this is generally more common in the United States than, say, in the UK, especially at family meals or special occasions like Thanksgiving. It's a short prayer or a blessing giving thanks for the food.
How does it usually work?
Often, one person, maybe the head of the family or the host, will lead it, and others might just bow their heads quietly, maybe saying amen at the end. In the UK, public displays of religion are generally less common, so you wouldn't see it as often in restaurants or even necessarily at home. So if you're dining with an American family, it's just a good cultural heads up that this might happen.
Good to know. What about the general vibe, the atmosphere? Like, how loud are restaurants?
That's another interesting observation people often make. American restaurants, especially casual ones, can often feel quite a bit louder and more buzzy than their British counterparts. Lots of chatter, background music might be louder, creates a certain kind of energetic atmosphere.
Whereas British places might be a bit quieter.
Often, yes. Maybe a bit more subdued, more focus on quieter conversation. It's just a different preference for ambiance. Neither is better or worse, just different. If you're expecting a very quiet, intimate dinner, a bustling American restaurant might surprise you.
Good point. And this probably links to how the servers interact with you too, right? We touched on this with tipping.
Absolutely. This is one of the biggest practical differences you'll likely notice. In the UK, servers might seem a bit more reserved. They'll take your order, bring your food, but they might not check in on you quite as often. You might need to actively signal them if you need something or when you want to pay.
They kind of leave you alone more.
Generally, yes. There isn't that same economic pressure from tipping culture to be constantly checking in.
Whereas in the US, it can feel like they're your new best friend checking in every few minutes.
Uh-huh. Sometimes it can feel that way. American servers tend to check in very frequently. How's everything tasting? Can I get anything else? How's that steak working out for you?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes, yeah, right in the middle of your sentence.
Why so often?
It's partly company training attentive service, but it's overwhelmingly driven by that tipping culture we discussed. Remember, in the US, tips aren't just a bonus. They are a fundamental part of the server's income. Their hourly wage is often very low, legally allowed because tips are expected to make it up to at least minimum wage and hopefully much more.
So more check-ins equals better service equals bigger tip, in theory. That's the thinking, yes. They're incentivized to be highly attentive, maybe refill your water constantly, ask how things are. It's their job performed within that specific economic system. So if it feels a bit interruptive compared to what you're used to, try to remember the context. It's not meant to be annoying. It's part of the service model.
That really explains a lot. Understanding the why behind it makes it less jarring.
Yeah.
Okay, we've eaten, we've maybe dealt with a cold dish politely, we've navigated the cultural nuances. Now it's time for the final step, paying up.
Right, settling the bill. And here we have a really key vocabulary difference, especially between American and British English.
Ah, yes, the check versus bill thing. Let's
Yeah.
clarify that.
Okay. In American English, when you ask for the piece of paper that lists what you ate and how much you owe, you ask for the check. Could we have the check, please?
Check. Got it. CHECK.
Exactly. But in British English, for that exact same piece of paper in a restaurant, you ask for the bill. BILL. Could we have the bill, please?
So, same situation, different word depending on where you are. That's a classic one to mix up.
It really is. Using bill in the US in a restaurant might get you a slightly confused look, and vice versa. Now, to add a little confusion,
Oh, good.
haha, the word bill is used in American English too, but usually for other things like your phone bill, electricity bill, credit card bill, any statement of charges, really.
So, bill is broader, but in a restaurant, Americans say check.
You got it. And check has other meanings too, of course, like to verify. But in that restaurant context, it means the thing you need to pay.
Okay, crystal clear. Check in the US, bill in the UK, and many other Commonwealth countries. So when you're ready to leave, what are the standard phrases to ask for it?
They're pretty simple. The bill, please, or the check, please, depending where you are. Or slightly more formally, could we have the bill check, please? You could also say, we're ready for the bill check when you have a moment.
And what about non-verbally? If it's noisy.
Yeah, the classic move is to catch the server's eye and make a little scribbling motion in the air with your hand, like you're signing something. That's pretty universally understood as, I'd like to pay now.
The invisible signature. Okay. Now, the potentially awkward part, who actually pays? This seems like it could be complicated.
It definitely can be. It's very cultural and really depends on the situation, who you're with. There aren't always hard and fast rules.
Let's break it down. What about, say, a business lunch or dinner?
Generally, for business meals, the expectation is that the person who issued the invitation, or the most senior person, or the host representing the company, pays the bill. It's considered part of conducting business.
Okay, that seems straightforward. What about just going out with friends? Or maybe colleagues, but socially?
With friends or casual colleagues, it's much more variable. Several common ways to handle it. One is splitting the bill. This can mean dividing the total cost equally among everyone.
So if the total is $90 and there are three people, everyone pays $30.
Exactly. Or sometimes splitting can mean paying for what you had. Everyone calculates roughly what their own food and drinks cost and pays that amount. This works well if people ordered very different things price-wise.
Right.
Another really common approach is taking turns. One person gets the bill this time, someone else gets it next time you go out. You might hear, "Don't worry, I'll get this one," or "It's my turn."
Yeah, that feels pretty common among regular friends.
It builds reciprocity.
Okay, the trickiest one. Romantic dates. Who pays? Is it still the man pays? Does the woman offer? Do you split it?
Ah, the date dilemma. This is complex, and honestly, it varies hugely, even among individuals within the same culture. There's no single answer anymore. One common practice, especially maybe on earlier dates or among younger people, is going Dutch.
Going Dutch?
Yeah, it means splitting the cost, often 50-50. Each person pays their half.
Okay. Is the more traditional way still around?
The tradition of the man paying still exists, yes, but it's much less of a strict rule. It's very common now, and generally considered polite, for the woman to offer to pay, or at least offer to split it, even if the man intends to pay. He might accept the offer, or he might insist on paying.
So offering is a good move regardless.
Generally, yes. It shows willingness to contribute. People also find other ways to share. Maybe one person gets dinner, the other gets drinks before, or pays for the movie afterwards. Communication helps avoid awkwardness.
Definitely sounds like communication is key there. Now, I've sometimes seen that little polite fight over the bill where two people both insist on missing.
Uh-huh, yes. The friendly argument to pay. It's quite common, especially in North America. It's a way of showing generosity. People use specific phrases when they really intend to pay.
Like what? What should you listen for?
You might hear someone say firmly, "This is my treat." That means, "I am paying for this as a gift to you." Or, "I want to cover dinner," or "Let me cover this." Cover means pay for, and a very common casual one is "Dinner is on me," or simply "It's on me." All of those signal a strong intention to pay.
Good to know those phrases. So if someone says, "It's my treat," you can probably relax and let them.
Usually, yes. Arguing too hard against a genuine treat can also be a bit awkward.
Right. Okay,
Uh,
and that brings us perfectly to the final crucial part of paying. Tipping. We've mentioned it, but let's really clarify the expectations.
yes, the tip again, that extra money for service. As we've hinted, this is where cultural understanding is absolutely vital because the expectations are just so different.
Let's nail down the North American standard first. US and Canada. How does it work there? Is it really required?
In North America, yes, tipping in restaurants is generally considered required. It's deeply embedded in the system. It's not really seen as optional for standard service. The typical range is 15% to 20% of the pre-tax bill. 15% might be for standard okay service, while 20% or even slightly more, like 22%, 25%, is common for good to excellent service.
And the reason is that low base wage for servers we talked about.
Exactly. Their hourly pay is often significantly below the standard minimum wage based on the legal assumption that tips will make up the difference and hopefully much more. So, not tipping or tipping like 5% is seen as extremely rude unless the service was truly catastrophically bad. It directly impacts the server's income for that shift.
Wow. That's such a critical point for visitors to understand. It's not just a nice extra, it's part of the wage structure. How does that compare to the UK?
It's very different in the UK. Tipping is not required or generally expected in the same way. Why? Because servers in the UK must be paid at least the national minimum wage or national living wage, which is considerably higher than the tipped minimum wage in parts of the US. Their basic income doesn't rely on tips.
So you can tip, but you don't have to.
Precisely. If you received good service and want to show appreciation, a tip of around 10% is usually considered appropriate and generous. But leaving no tip is also perfectly acceptable and not generally considered rude. It's a true bonus, not an expected supplement.
And you mentioned that UK servers might expect to tip more if they hear an American accent.
That's an interesting little cultural observation, yeah. They know tipping is standard for Americans, so they might anticipate one more than they would from a local. Just something to be aware of.
Fascinating. So, given these huge differences, what's the bottom line? What's the best advice for tipping when you travel?
The absolute best advice is always do a quick check on the local tipping customs before you go or when you arrive. A simple online search for tipping customs in country will usually give you the information you need. Ask your hotel concierge, find out what's normal and expected.
Because getting it wrong could be awkward or even offensive.
Exactly. What's normal in one place might be insulting, either too little or even too much in some cultures, elsewhere. A little bit of research beforehand shows respect for the local culture and avoids any uncomfortable moments when the check or the bill arrives.
That is excellent practical advice. We've covered a ton of ground today. Seriously, a real deep dive from the moment you think about going out, making the reservation.
Yeah, through navigating the menu, asking for recommendations, those all-important dietary needs.
Handling complaints politely, using that softening language, understanding subtle cultural things like cutlery and noise levels.
And finally, the whole process of paying, the check versus bill, who pays, and the massive topic of tipping.
It really feels like we've touched on everything you need for a smooth restaurant experience in English.
I hope so.
Yeah.
The goal really was to equip you, our listeners, not just with phrases, but with that deeper cultural understanding. Knowing the why behind things, like the frequent check-ins or the tipping norms, can make such a difference to how you feel, how you interact. It makes it less stressful, right?
Totally. Much more enjoyable, less stressful. It's about feeling confident in that whole social interaction, not just about ordering food. You feel genuinely well informed.
Exactly.
So, for everyone listening, here's a little thought to take away. The next time you find yourself in a restaurant, maybe at home, maybe when you're traveling, try to actively observe beyond just the food. Notice that hidden language of interaction happening all around you.
hmm Pay attention to how people ask for things.
Mm-hmm.
How do they respond to the server? What unspoken rules seem to be guiding things like politeness, service expectations, even who reaches for the bill first?
Think about how knowing the kinds of details we talked about today, those little nuggets about softening language or tipping culture, might actually change how you perceive the experience or how you participate in it.
Yeah, what new insights could you gain about communication, about culture, just by being a little more observant during something as everyday as having a meal out? It's kind of a continuous learning opportunity, isn't it?
Right.
Every meal can teach you something new about cultural fluency.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into restaurant English. We really hope you found it helpful and feel way more prepared and confident for your next dining adventure, wherever that might be.
It was a pleasure. Eat well, everyone.